everyone, and thank you so much for being on the show again. This is Angie'S. Welcome to Angie's Talk Show. Tonight is such an amazing night and special night because I have this wonderful young adult. I call them young adult entrepreneurs coming and joining me on this interview. Also, going to talk about the things that they love doing and also what are they doing now, thriving and coping with the pandemic and of course all the things that is going on right now. So before we're gonna go that this is why we do what we do. Angie's Talk Show is catered to all entrepreneurs who want to build their branding, who want to relate their message to all the people that they can relate with. And also, this is to share ideas, tips, experiences that is working for these entrepreneurs who are doing the things that they can to keep moving forward in the future. So that's why it's a win-win scenario wherein people who have the experience will come here, share it with you. And at the same time, if there are some ideas that you can get from them, it will be something that you will take it to action. And hopefully you will succeed in what you want to do based from the experiences and failures of other people being an entrepreneur. And at the same time, I would love very much to reach out to all the people around the world. And I do believe that we have viewers all over the world and who are always looking forward to hearing our interviews with all different people. So last time we had interviewed Moody, one of my friends who is an author and also a wonderful example with all her experiences in her workplace for almost 40 years and helping a lot of people out there and also helping them with their mindset. So tonight is a different night. But before I go there, I really want to thank all the people who have supported Brighter a Future for the Next Generation. Our project for the Teach and Talk is finally completed, and I will be posting all the people who have supported us in buying those walkie-talkies to continue the education that these kids needed in the very remote areas of the Philippines, Bukay Abra. So I am very thrilled to tell you that it is completed as of yesterday. So thank you very much for all those people who donated to complete that project of Brighter Future for the Next Generation. So now I am excited because I'm going to bring you Michael, Nason, and Philip Salvador. So these are these wonderful young adult entrepreneurs who are doing so amazingly with their passion and with their skills and abilities to do things what they can in order to thrive in this chaotic life that we are in right now. So first off, I'm gonna bring you Michael. He will tell you a little bit about himself and we'll go to Philip.
Hi everybody. That I should start now, right?
Yeah, you will.
Okay.
And tell them a little bit about you and what are you doing right now as a career?
Sure. Hi everybody. I'm Michael. I am an illustrator, recently a children's book author, and I try and be a little bit everything under the sun. I do drawing, I do design, I do a bit of music. Currently, for my 9 to 5, I am working as a cabinet maker's assistant. So I do a lot of woodwork, and I try and just keep creating and building and making things in my day to day.
Awesome. And can you please tell us how old are you, Michael?
I'm 22. 22
Imagine that. 22. And did you hear everything that he said and what he is doing? That is phenomenal. So very responsible young kid. Oh, I should not be saying young kid, but young adult.
Thank you.
So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Michael. Let's go ahead and hear another one that is just such an amazing, wonderful wonderful young adult as well. And let's go to Philip.
Hi guys. My name is Philip Salvador from Calgary, Alberta. I am a little bit more honed in. I am a graphic designer, so that means I do anything that entails to logo work, branding, any type of illustration, and advertising design.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, you're just giving me an idea because I need all of those. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear. But how old are you, Philip?
Oh yes, Paul. So I am actually 25.
You're 25 years old. Oh my gosh. You
Mhm.
guys, when I look at you guys, you look like you're just on your 18, 19, and like around 20. But it's so nice that you guys are like doing all this. Such an amazing job out there. So now, guys, the reason why I bring them to you is just because there are so many young adults out there. Sometimes they don't know what to do with their lives. And sometimes they'll say, I'm bored. Or sometimes they'll say, I'm getting tired of this. Or whatever they're doing. So the reason why I bring Michael and Philip is just because I want them to talk to you. And they got no idea of what I'm going to ask them. And that's why I love
Ooh.
doing what this I'm going to do, because I don't prompt people on all the questions that I ask, because I want them to speak from their heart. I want them to relate to you. I want them to bring on their ordinary life being who they are, and you guys can connect, and you can connect it with your daily activities as well, whatever they are doing right now. So but don't worry, they're kind of nervous because they might be thinking that I'm going to ask them some questions that's really hard that they cannot answer. But don't worry, I'm gonna be really easy on them, you guys.
Okay. Okay.
So you can breathe right now. That's amazing.
Whew.
So first, so first of all, you guys, I want to thank. Let's thank all our viewers right now, and we thank you, all our viewers. Without you, this show is
Yes.
never been
Thank
possible,
you.
because I know that it's a beautiful evening in Calgary. And instead of being out there, you choose to be with us tonight. So thank you for that. I love very
Sure.
much to say hello and thank you to Geraldine Jingumabay Castro from the Philippines. So
Ah.
say yes, hello, Geraldine. And I want to thank Cindy Boda from Ontario. Thank you so much, Cindy,
Ooh.
for being with us. To Bunny. Bunny is a teacher in Calgary. Thank you, Bunny. I miss
Oh.
you, girl. Cindy said, you're awesome. So, and thank you so much, Cindy. You are awesome too as well. So thank you for being with us tonight. And I will be seeing more and more people who are with us. Sometimes some people are from Japan. Sometimes some people coming from UK or United States, and also from Middle East. Some people are coming all over the world. So I'm super glad to have you both here with me today. So, anyways, the reason I bring Michael in here is um, he got all these experiences doing what he does and doing what he's passionate of doing. And to me, I'm speaking to my younger self. If I love doing what I do, I will never call it a job. If I love doing what I do, I will wake up every single morning excited. And that's exactly what you need to find.
Nice.
Yeah. So you need to find that, like, when you have something that you go to bed, you're thinking about it, you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about it. That's exactly what you are passionate of doing. And that will never it will never take a lot of your energy to do it, because that's what you love doing. So talking with Michael, and thank you to Chaz for referring me to Michael. So shout out to Chaz Smith out there, who's doing the help me, Michael. Um,
Be the change.
be the change, YYC,
Be the
be the
change.
change.
YYC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be the change, YYC. Shout out to Chaz Smith out there, doing such an amazing job helping now with the vaccination. And next weekend, which is Saturday, Chaz will be with us. So you're going to hear more about his charity work out there too as well. So I'm so proud of him. So anyways, Michael has been telling me about this book. And guess what, guys? I cannot believe that Michael wrote a book, and it's all about a Filipino book. It's a children's book. I know that he can explain more about it than I do. So, aside from all the things that he does, all the cabinet making, being an artist, and everything like that, let's watch and hear him to talk about his book right now, and he's gonna show you an example of it. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, good thing this is a visual show too, because it's more a picture book than it is a reading book. The general demographic is really anyone can read it. I've had friends in the 20s and 30s ask about it. My parents' friends have asked to check it out, but the demographic is still like younger elementary school children. So here it is. It is called Take a Walk with That Tikbalang. And so it is. This is my name. This is Philip's name. And so this is a book we've been working on for the last few months. Got it published around May or so. And so the back has a little descriptor here. I will read that at the end, but for the time being, I'll show you a few of the pages. So here's the little front area. And so here are a few people that helped with it. This is my partner, Connie, her friend, Mariah, Neil, who's a friend of my mother's, and then Josephine, who's a parent of my friend Essay. And so, aside from Connie, who is helping with visual editing and consistency, these three people are from the Philippines or have relatives from the Philippines, and they were able to help give really good feedback on this book because, like you said, it's about the Philippines. It's about traditional Filipino folklore and legend, and I wanted to make sure that it stayed accurate. They also helped me with something else I'll show you in the book after. So the story centers around Bata. He's this young boy, and he finds a few tikbalang hairs, and then this tikbalang comes along and says, hey, those are my hairs. I'd like those back. Because as the story goes, if you find a tikbalang's hairs, it has 3 golden hairs, and if you pluck one out, the Tikbalang then becomes in servitude to you. He then becomes like your servant. He'll do whatever you ask of him. And so Bata is very nice, and he doesn't want to make the Tikbalang serve him. He instead says, hey, can you help me find my mom's lost ring? She lost it out here in the wild a few days ago, and she's getting really worried about it. So the two of them go on this adventure through the island, asking the different creatures if they've seen the ring. And so they travel through caves, they go through the forest. They eventually find the Alans, and the Alans are a creature of folklore in the Philippines that are known for stealing lots of gold. They like to take gold from people's houses. So I won't spoil what happens throughout the story, but they are going through looking for the ring, and they keep getting closer and closer through the different creatures they meet. And all of them are real creatures from folklore. And so as you read the book, there are also these little annotations in Tagalog, which also have the phonetic element to them too, for people who are interested in the language of the culture.
Oh my gosh, what an imagination. But tell us, I can see you got no Filipino in you. So what make you
What?
check it
I
out?
wanted
Check
to
it out.
double check. I thought for a second.
You thought a little bit there. But what make you write about the story of Tikbalang, which is like a Filipino a story? Like, what make you? What interests you to be telling a story about that?
It's a thin line to ride between appropriation and communication, where
Mm.
it's a pretty commonplace narrative throughout history for people that look like me to take other culture stories and then make them their own
Mm-hmm.
and not give any sort
Mm-hmm.
of recognition to the original. And I do really like reading about folklore from other countries, but I didn't want to follow in that
Mm-hmm.
footstep of more or less taking other people's stuff and then calling it my own. So
Mm-hmm.
what I did was I brought the community to this book to make sure that it was less
Mm-hmm.
my story and more the story of the Philippines and stories from people from the Philippines, and then
Mm-hmm.
I use my skills to put it all together. Uh,
Beautiful, beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Specifically, why the Philippines over other cultures was because a large number, roughly like half to 75% of my friends growing up were from the Philippines. So I'd heard about folklore and I've heard about superstition. I've heard about practices from the Philippines, and it always really intrigued me that there was virtually nothing about them in modern media compared to like how you can see so much now with Norse mythology. Like there's all the Marvel, Thor and Loki.
Yeah.
You can find Japanese creatures and everything. Like there's a lot of people who have this is Chinese, not Japanese, but have food dogs out in front of their house. In Japan, you can find a lot of stuff around yokai and creatures they have in folklore, just in everything. Like Mario games are built around a bunch of Japanese folklore, but you can't find that equivalent with the Philippines. And I thought that it's a great culture with great stories, and it should be represented.
To all the Filipinos around the world, if you are getting what Michael is saying, it is about time for us to do what we can to bring out those skills, abilities, and experiences that we have and put it into something tangible like books.
True.
Before I forget, celebrating the independence of the Philippines. 123, if I am not mistaken. Now it's like the heritage of the independence of the Philippines is a heritage day. So congratulations and celebrating with all the Filipinos out there around the
Let's go.
world.
That's a genuine achievement. That's amazing. I didn't know that was
exactly.
today.
123. That's what I kind of remember. So, anyways, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Michael, to choosing Filipino story instead of any other countries, and that is just telling us that we need to truly work together in order to bring something to the world, and together we're stronger, and all the ideas collectively, it will really create something phenomenal for other people to know who we are. So thank you so very much, Michael. We'll really truly appreciate that initiative that you did. So let's go ahead to Philip. Kudos to Philip for helping Michael.
Yes. I mean, like, did I really help him? I helped him a little bit.
He
No,
helped.
Michael.
He helped quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just being humble. Michael is actually super, super inspired to do this book because honestly, he came to me with the idea.
That's
And
awesome.
and what's awesome is that for me, I was born here in Calgary, Canada. So I'm Filipino, pero I don't know even that much Tagalog because my parents were trying to teach me English more. But the trade-off there, right, is that like I'm not super in tune with the Filipino culture myself. So like with this book and stuff, it was also like a learning experience for me as well. Um, and working with Michael is like it's honestly not a job. Like really.
Yeah, because
It's so
you
easy.
are, because you're passionate of doing too as well to bring back what's the story of the Filipinos, and that's why I really salute you, admire you for doing that, because you're not even born in the Philippines, and you went the extra mile to get all collectively those stories and help Michael about it. And you know what? This is so funny, guys, because like I'm listening to Philip, and he is not even born in the Philippines. And yes, don't beat up yourself, Philip, because I am even born in the Philippines, but I don't speak Tagalog. I understand a little bit, but I don't speak it because you know why? I'm Ilocana. And Ilocana is a hard, like, like
No
when
different dialect.
I know, yes, it's like sometimes, like it's really hard, but I'm trying, but I do understand. So don't beat up yourself about that. But you are doing such an amazing job, and I can see it on you that you have that passion to really do what you can to bring that culture out. So I salute your parents to teaching you English, not much that they didn't teach you Tagalog. So so that's good. So I'm very happy for what you did. So tell me more about what you learned from writing this book with Michael.
Well, when it comes to like the process of designing, um,
Mm.
actually a lot, because this is essentially like an editorial piece. Like we've never, this is our first venture doing like a literal book. I'm gonna be
Mm.
real with you and say
Mm-hmm.
that I
Yes.
myself talked to me like a year ago and
Mm.
say that, hey Philip, you're gonna work on a children's book. I'm gonna be like,
Uh,
what are you
uh.
talking about? I don't know. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was timing now.
Mm. And I think for a lot of people, it's really hard to take that step forward just because they
Mm.
don't know how to do it. And
Mhm.
it's such a easy thing, like such a switch in mindset where you're, you
Mhm.
know, if you don't know, go, like, feel free to go out there and
Fine.
just like
Yes.
take that
Yes.
step forward and
Mhm.
learn. Like, okay, so music, right? Like some of us don't know guitar. Is that going to stop you from playing the guitar?
Mhm.
Because how else do you learn? So it's like the
Mhm.
same mindset like you take with this book essentially. um Even so for me it was like literally side by side the same learning curve with Michael based on the folklore. Because I was going and asking him, I was like, oh, I know, what is this? Tikbalang, what?
Yeah. 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 Mhm. So, but your parents know a little bit about tikbalang.
Yeah, so what was cool about that when I was bringing up like some of
Mhm.
these names, I was like, oh, what is a tikbalang and what is the higante or alan? Um, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, yes, anak, yes, anak, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Go,
yeah,
go, go,
yeah,
go, go.
yeah. That's amazing. So instead of this is what it struck me the most. Okay,
Mm,
I like the fact that you said that you don't know something that is like you want to do something, but unfortunately you don't know.
mm,
Now the internet is all wide open for everybody. So if
mm,
you really truly want to do something and you're really wanting to succeed, there's so many people that you can ask and go and get it done. It's
mm,
so true. Like for example, if you go to a job, and this is what I am thinking, if you go to a job and you will say, hey, I'm applying, but I don't know what to do and how to do it, is that, and if they're willing to teach you, are you going to like really quit and not get the job? Of course
mm,
you're gonna keep doing it and learning about it. And so that's why I am so happy that you guys, you don't know these things, but you went ahead and go find ways to get it and start it working, and see, there you go, it's done. And it's, but if you didn't start it, if you didn't really look for ways to be just a little bit interested, because you know what guys, it's just a tiny interest that sparks there, that will spark your and inspire you. That will be enough to move you into the next level. And if it moves you, you will really truly see the future and the reward at the end. So, but I want to ask Michael, why Tik Balang? Where did you get that name, Tik Balang?
Oh, if you can believe it, I didn't make it up. It's a part of Filipino folklore.
Mm.
It's a creature. Specifically, it is a creature I believe from the Palawan Islands. Please don't quote me on that, but
Mm.
I'm pretty
Mm.
sure I know most of what I got from this was based on people from Palawan and
Mm.
uh, articles that I read about Palawan specifically, because
Wow.
there are
Mm.
different creatures and different variants across islands, because as folklore goes on, different environmental factors can lead to it. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I heard from some people, specifically, there's a page about the duende, which are pretty common
Mm-hmm.
creatures talked about across the Philippines. Ooh, they're little dwarves, and so there's various different types. I feature the Nuno Sapunso, which are
Oh,
these little. They're supposed to be little men of the mountain, and I made them kind of look like
okay.
tree animals. They're supposed to have these wide hats and singular eyes, and then
Yeah.
there's also the Lampong, which is a famous one. But
Okay.
in some islands, duende are supposed to be given like offerings to show respect, and then there's other places that say you're not supposed to, and an offering can lead to a
Mm-hmm.
curse. Uh,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the Tikbalong just seemed like a really great stand-in character. Initially, I was going to have it be Manananggal, but Manananggal are not very good as kids book characters because the
Yeah.
they are the Philippines equivalent of a classic Western vampire. And I want to be accurate,
Okay.
but the details are a bit much for kids. They are
Yes.
you can look into
Mhm.
it, people at home.
Mhm.
Uh
And I
Tikbalong,
personally won't be reading that before I go to sleep.
yeah. Tikbalongs are supposed to be more aggressive than the book does portray.
Mhm.
They're technically in the canon of the book. The Tikbalong, the kid Bata finds the hair, so the Tikbalong is subservient. But if you don't find the hair, then a Tikbalong is supposed to be violent. I took
Okay,
I took a
gotcha.
step from the articles because the articles always compared the Tikbalong to a Greek centaur, and Greek centaurs, similar to Tikbalongs, were always really violent. But as time
Mhm.
has gone on, the violence has kind of been taken away from the folklore, like in your
Mhm.
Narnias and in your uh,
Okay, yeah,
other kids fiction. Centaurs
I
aren't
see.
very violent, so I went with the
Mhm.
Tikbalong for that. I also think that
Nice.
horses work really well as main characters. I just like to draw
Perfect.
horses.
Yeah. I guess so too. So to all the Filipinos out there, whoever knows a story about the tikbalang, we will be asking you to drop us a comment on the show and tell us more about tikbalang. Whatever you know, is it really exist? Or does it really exist? What's your experience about it? Why you hear about it? Or do you know about tikbalang? So, anyways, like drop us some comments out there and we will absolutely be looking at it and see what you guys think about tikbalang. So that's awesome. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about more on with Philip for what he is doing aside from doing the things that helping with Philip with Michael. What else do you love doing, Philip? What do you exactly do?
So, for me, I feel like a lot of people go through this process of, like, oh yeah, what do I want to do with my life? But mine
Yes.
was like more interesting in the fact that like I already knew from like when I was a kid that I
Mm.
wanted to be in the creative field. Uh, cuz I was always like excelling at art and I was always like inspired by like comic books and
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
So I was always like, whenever art class came up, I was like, yes, yes, this is the one thing I want to do in my school day.
Mm.
Um, so I knew for sure, like it didn't take like too much like looking. At first, I actually did want to be a comic book artist, and
Mhm.
that's why I went to the school that I went to. Shout outs to AU Arts, and that's where I actually met Michael. We ended up in the same program,
Mm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we were both in the graphic design program. Even though he was leaning more towards illustration, and I ended up being advertising design.
So aside from those designs, you still do some music, as you I do
Mm.
believe that's what you do too as well.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, since I knew what I wanted to do, I actually did
Mhm.
not participate in too many extracurriculars until like later in
Oh.
my life.
Mhm.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm super interested in is I discovered that I like really really like music. So I play the guitar and then I play a little piano and then my friend actually gave me a kalimba for my birthday, so I've been
Oh,
learning that
beautiful.
as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, no, just like expressing yourself through music is just like a whole different thing. I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Yes.
Um,
And discovering some tunes too and stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah. That's good.
yeah, exactly. So that example that I gave before about guitar, that was literally me. I was like, yo, I'm not good. Why should I
Yes.
pick it
Yeah.
up? But then I
Yeah.
was like, it didn't make sense to me because I was like, but how am I gonna get good anyways if I like don't do it?
Mm-hmm. And you are thinking like it takes a lot of effort to learn it, but then after
Mm,
you started it, like, and then you keep going because you can feel, you can see like this is something
mhm.
that you want to do, and every time you discover something, you learn something, you want to keep going, right? So that's amazing. But this is something that I want to ask you, Michael. I mean, Philip. there's a lot of kids out there that they enroll into one career, one course, and then they change their mind, and you know, like they're confused. They don't
Yeah.
know what to do. They'll say, I started a course, but it's not really for me, and
Right.
like, you know what I mean? I mean, and they end up, so like, if it's been like 3, 4 years, and they still
Yeah.
didn't finish anything else. Like, what can you tell to those people?
Honestly, trust in that process. And if you are in a course and you feel like it's not for you, and you actually end up dropping out, that's actually good, because do not dedicate yourself to 4 years of something that you do not want to do.
Mm, mhm,
uh because, like, again, like, don't be discouraged, because that's literally part of the process of you trying to find out, like, what you want. Even
mhm,
though I said all that stuff about being in the creative field, for sure. Remember, I started out like trying to be a comic book artist, and now I'm a graphic designer. You know what I
mhm,
mean? It
mhm,
took a lot of like honing and a lot of projects to find out where I'm really excelling at and what I really
mhm.
want to do, for sure.
So it helps a little bit, like when you go to, because I have kids myself, and
Mhm.
they always says that I want to do like the foundation, the things that I can do to decide which one do I need to take later. So I guess that's a good thing, and I do believe what you're saying, that if you pursue something, you need to know that that's something that you really want to do. But as you grow and as you develop, you want something different, and
Mhm.
sometimes it's really hard to like sticking into one thing, and then you're dragging yourself to finish it. You won't be successful. So I think that is a great idea, but at the same time, they also need to give their best, right, to Philip. They need to give
Mhm.
their best to
Mhm.
discern which one really they want to go, because they don't also want to waste the money to like enrolling from one career course to another, other than like giving it truly your best and think about like, okay, so is this really what I want? So it will help them that way, right? Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that thought from you. And let's go ahead to Michael, and let's ask Michael the same question. What can you tell to a lot of people who are saying like young adult like you guys, that are like really stressed, and really don't know the path that they want to take. So what you gonna tell them?
This is going to sound a little counterintuitive, Angie, and I'm sorry, but
Don't
uh,
worry.
if I was to tell myself something maybe like back in high school to go
Mm,
on, I would say be fine with coming to terms with giving up. There are a lot of times where I have dragged myself through a spot in life that I thought, if completed, would help me get somewhere or do something that I would like. But I should have been listening to my mind and body since day one, and it wasn't worth it.
mm,
So
mhm,
this will sound double counterintuitive, but I personally would not have gone to art school. I know we're
mhm,
talking about following a dream and doing it day in,
mhm,
day out,
mhm,
but for how my career was going and how my situation was in life, I
mhm,
don't think I particularly needed it nor wanted it. It's good to when you find your passion, and it's all right if you don't have a passion in life. You don't need to be set on this one set path of doing this
mm,
one thing. I've done 5 or 6 things in the last 4 years, and I'm very happy with the way it's been going.
mhm,
But if you find that one thing or two things, if you find something, it should be something you pathologically do. It should be something that
mhm,
you just do in your free time. You can fall asleep thinking about it. You can wake up thinking about it.
mm,
If you're able to passively grow in this lane, then it will just come to you. There are days
mhm,
where I don't want to draw and I just draw because it's just in my veins. And
mhm,
so art school wouldn't have pushed me in any direction. I would have been going there either way.
mhm,
For another example, where I thought that it would help me as an artist to get a job with good money, I was doing pipe fitting for about a year and a half, and it was really good money, and it's helped me through the pandemic. But it was just a terrible situation that didn't help me with my drawing. I'd be too tired. I'd be exhausted. I would
Mhm.
be downright confused with my own job, and I would go home thinking about
Mhm.
that instead of drawing.
Mhm.
But now that I'm doing woodworking, which comes much more naturally to me and my entire family, it was
Mhm.
really written on the wall. I should have been doing woodworking. It's much easier for me. I can now easily just come home after like a 12-hour shift and then draw as much as I want, and it works
Mhm.
much more congruently. I should have given up in what I thought would help me with drawing
Mhm. So
to draw better.
that's right. So it's just a matter of it's just a matter of really deciding on, okay, I want to put food on the table right now. And okay, is this something that I want to be doing for the rest of my life? What makes me happy? What will really complete my existence? Like there are so many different things to consider, and on those things, like as I said, I talk to my younger self a lot of times, because these are the only things that I can learn more moving forward. So I said to myself, like, if I will be like younger and I see like a lot of people, I said, I mean, if I'm seeing myself and my other kids, this is what I do and this is what I am learning in life. Going back is how I really learn, because the things that I've done so far, like, I don't know, guys, but I grew up in the Philippines. When I was 5 years old, I start like farming, and I thought in my life that that's all I can do. Like in poverty, like going to the farm from I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning and getting done at like nighttime, and I thought that's what it is. I thought that I will become a farmer and have like tons of kids, because that's exactly what happened back in the Philippines. But moving forward, I said to my younger self, I said, "Great job, Angie, that you've done all those things, because without those, there's no foundation of your resiliency, your determination, your persistence to do the things that I am doing right now." So I was really happy that those things, the poverty that I've been through when I was younger, had prepared me to be a stronger woman to face whatever it is in life. So that's why I understand exactly what you are telling me, guys, because there are so many the same different things in your path that will really hold you back and scare you to keep moving forward, because that might not be something that I want to do. But again, I go back to Philip. You don't know until you try. You don't know until you get there. You don't know until you at least try to start and find your way forward. So I know that there's so many younger generations like you guys out there now, that they are like really stressed right now, and sometimes anything and everything in life that they are doing, it seems that nothing is working. So we're coming up into the hour, and I would love you very much to give your best to kind of encourage them, inspire them, and tell them exactly what you guys have done, that now you are in the position that you are right now. And I know for a fact we're not the same. We're not all the same, but we're just doing everything we can to keep moving forward, especially with this pandemic and all the things that is happening right now. But before I forget, Michael, I know that you have another book.
Oh yeah, this will actually transition right well.
Yes.
I was telling Angie this improv spiel that I had before the show,
Yes.
where um, this can also move into my point as well, where
Mhm.
the number one thing would be to put things in perspective.
Yes.
You're completely entitled to having your goals and your ideas and your dreams to have importance, but watch out, because the gravity of that importance can trip you up. So
Mm.
so to think about the past and the
Mhm.
progress from where you've made from back then to now, I have
Mm.
this book. This is my first kids book published, and I made this in the early months of 2018, about February
Mm.
2018. And I'd never done this before. To be honest, it didn't come out very well. The colors and the text are very odd. This is probably the second thing I ever did graphic design for.
Mm.
Uh, This was way back when I was a little bigger and I had a beard. And that's
Oh
me.
my gosh! Yes, yes, yes.
And this is Andrew. He helped me. He
Aw.
helped me with the book. He did the
Mhm.
publishing, and he also wrote the story. It's good to look at the past and what you've
You
done.
see? Mm-hmm.
Appreciate what you have done recently. So I'm still at the point where I can't look at this book and really see it as something done. I just keep looking at this book and looking at little errors in the print, or I will, like, when I look at the printed copies, I'll just look at these incredibly minuscule, like, scratch marks. I can't look at this yet and think of this as being something that was done by me and something I should be proud of. And even though I can't, I would recommend everyone else to try and do this, what you've done recently, even if you can't personally appreciate it at the moment. And even if you don't have big prospects for the future, keep trying to find things that are congruent to that. Try and find things, if not in that lane, in a lane that you can move from. So, like, if you're currently, let's say, a drawer like me, if you're a drawer and you want to get into, like, learning how to fly a plane,
Yes.
don't go right away to, like, reading books about how to fly planes. Make sure you have your car
No.
license.
Yeah.
If you want to try and, like, build that spark, draw planes, look up stuff about planes. Actually, I can compare this. Let's scrap the planes thing. Recently, I have gotten into cars. Cars is an easier example.
Okay.
I have recently gotten into cars, so I started drawing cars. I started drawing the parts of cars and learning about cars and reading about cars. I made sure to have my license on my class 5. And from there, I can start to, like, buy car parts and try and work them into my cars and then see what I would like to do with a car to make it the car I'd like it to be. Like, you got to work incrementally from what you know to there. And even if these things, like drawing a car to then making a car, seems kind of distant, it will bridge the gap for you personally.
That is perfect.
So I've never made a comic book before, but I've been getting a better feel around art jobs and the art community. And with this kid's book, I got a better feel for my networking. And this is a book that I stole from Philip's house, because every few weeks or so I come through and I check to see what books Philip will let me borrow. And so I'm reading Words for Pictures by Brian Michael Bendis right now. He's a comic book writer. And it goes through the process of how to make a comic book, as well as all the comic books he's worked on, and how you get into the industry, and how you can use your network to get from your current position of just drawing to having those drawings or those writings making it into a company's published work.
That's amazing. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna go through Philip's books too. So maybe something I can start.
For good books, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, yes, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. Those are really, really great tips and ideas that you have. So moving forward on this, what's your vision, like, from everything that you've been doing right now, Michael? What's your vision?
Like, my long-term plans in the future? That's a big question. This is one of those questions that is throwing me off. For specifically, I've been throwing around various ideas for comic books. To get a bit random and personal, I very much liked during lockdown hearing about conspiracy theories, because people have been locked in their rooms and there's been all this stuff around conspiracy theories being thrown around. I thought of kind of branching off from, like, cemented legitimate folklore to goofy conspiracy theories for my next piece. I've thought about doing just one about cars to further the car stuff. I've thought about just putting drawing to the side for a year and then just going into woodwork. I wish I could say something set. I could say as a definite one, I'd like in the next 5 years to do a full, like, graphic novel. I'd like that.
That is wonderful. Well, this is what I tell a lot of people. If you are concentrating on the end result, you're going to be so disappointed. You're going to be so stressed. You're going to be so pressured. So what I am telling a lot of people, you really want to achieve something, enjoy the journey. And that's where that's exactly how you're going to do it. Enjoy the journey. Just enjoy it. And then when you get there, which I know whichever set mind, whatever your mind is set of doing, you're going to get there. And when you get there, I do believe it's gonna be so phenomenal. So congratulations on that. I really appreciate it and wishing you all the best on that one. So hopefully you're gonna get into what you ever you want to do at the end. So coming back to you later, and I will be asking the same thing to Philip. How about you, Philip, and everything that you've been doing, especially the things that you're passionate? What gonna be like? What's your vision? Where do you see yourself, and how at the end, and everything that you've done? How do you see yourself in the future? Or yeah.
Yeah, Angie, I truly was not prepared for that question. High key. Cause like for me, like I have been taking it day by day almost. Oh, that's my
Mhm.
mom.
Hi,
um,
mom.
Hi, Miss Salvador.
but yeah, so I've actually been kind of, for me, focusing on like mental health more. Yeah,
Mm,
for sure. And that's like a huge thing, by the way, if you're gonna take
mhm,
on like a serious like career path or like
mhm,
any type of like big journey.
mhm.
So I just want to like hone in and make sure like I am mentally capable of taking on bigger projects, you know what I mean, whether that be
Yes.
like for design or like if I want to take on a new extracurricular. Like I literally just signed up for like Muay Thai, so
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
yeah, I'm like it's super scared. I'm like not I don't have that cardiovascular, but you know, gotta sweat a
um,
little.
you'll get there.
Mhm.
Yeah, you'll get there. Well, that's the thing. As I said, I mean, just one step at a time. Take it every day at a time, and as long as you are heading into something in that direction, that's exactly what you. But this is what I said to a lot of people, especially to those people I am mentoring. I always tell them that it's not actually how fast you get there. It's how you know what to do, and you know where to be. And once you decide to do something, and you know exactly that uh, um, career that you want to get, or in 5 years from now, what will that be specific, you're halfway there because you already know and have the target. So I am very proud of you that I know that whatever it is that you are heading towards, I do really truly agree that mental and not only the physical one, but the mental strength is really important to have to decide to whatever you want to do in life. And it's very important. And while I have you, what message do you want to leave to our viewers before we go, and what inspiration can you tell them?
Ooh, what inspiration can I tell them?
Yes, give
uh,
them some inspiration. How can they keep going in life? How can they go, like, how can they battle these things that is going through, and
mm,
they're stressed and everything. So you like,
yeah.
how, what, yeah.
So for I can speak for artists, and this probably overlaps like generally everyone,
Mm-hmm,
but for us, and Michael touched on this earlier, we're
mm-hmm,
kind of more critical. So it is awesome that anyone is trying to better themselves. They're
mm-hmm.
acknowledging what they can work on, but also celebrate the little victories, as in like
Yes.
yeah, like the little things that you keep learning on, like building on your foundations, like you acknowledge that you are getting better. Don't just acknowledge your
Mm-hmm,
flaws. Don't just
mm-hmm,
acknowledge your flaws and your
mm-hmm,
mistakes, because then
mm-hmm,
that's pretty toxic too. Because then you're gonna end up
mm-hmm.
feeling like just the failure, when failure is
Yes.
just supposed to be like a lesson towards, or a stepping
Mm-hmm,
stone towards success, anyways, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So like making sure that you kind of own, like, feel yourself. Let's celebrate
Yeah.
yourself. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
um you're just like feeling good about like the things you accomplish. Don't be like, oh yeah, it's all right. Like don't minimize it. Like
Mm-hmm.
fully acknowledge it. Like truly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might be humble to what you have done, but at the same time, you also need to lift yourself up, because if nobody can trust you, Like if you don't trust yourself, who else can trust you? If you don't recognize the things that you have done, which you believe in your heart that you have done really well, who else gonna recognize you? So you need to
Facts.
celebrate. Like Michael, Philip, I really want that, because celebrate the small things, celebrate the small things. Even though, like, the reason why people are so stressed, the reason why people are so sad and never, like, it seems that they never see the sun rise, is because they're not being grateful for what they have, like, right at the moment. And they never celebrate, like, even just like, you know what, to me, waking up in the morning, something that I celebrate. Thank God I've been, like, I'm alive, not having the COVID, or capable of doing what I do. That is something that I need to celebrate, because, I mean, uh, there's so many people out there who are really struggling day by day, and they don't know, they are more like, in a worse situation than we are. So that's why Philip is right. Let's celebrate every single thing, small or big, and just put a pat on your back every time you did something, because, like, if nobody will see that, then you will just be feeling that, like, you didn't really well, and putting down yourself is not a good thing too. So I like that. Thank you so much, Philip. I really appreciate you sharing that, and continue doing what you do.
Yeah, for
uh,
sure.
Wishing you all the best, and I do believe that doing what you do will inspire a lot of people out there, and hopefully you will touch other people's lives, and also help them, guide them, and talk to the people that that are really needing the most. So thank you so much, Philip. I really, really, truly appreciate you. So let's go back to Michael.
Hey.
Michael, yes. So any last message to our viewers? So before we go moving forward, I really appreciate and say hello to Evelyn Season Passos. I do believe she is also in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken. And I also want to say hello to Richard Baliena. I do believe she's also from the Philippines. And Cindy Bodak said, "Thank you all and congratulations on your book, Michael, and continued success to you both."
Oh,
God, a good message for all of us. Cindy said, "Great stuff." Thank you so much, Cindy. Really appreciate you. So let's go back and to Michael, and give them a little bit of inspiration. Anything that you can leave it to them, and help them out, and especially in this chaotic life that we live in.
um, I feel like there's a lot I could say to someone depending on
Mm-hmm.
where they are. Like I could see circumstantially, I could say different things to different people. If I had something specific to say to
Mm-hmm.
someone, I would say find a mantra that speaks to you, whether that mantra is a
Mm.
song, a movie, it can be a person, it can be a place. Find that zone that can help you, because I
Mm-hmm.
know that a lot of people will just try and go on like very generic mantras. I'm pretty sure, Angie,
Mm.
you've like talked with other people who kind of work with like the motivation and like public speaking
Mm-hmm.
game, and they feel more like they're plugged into a computer than they are like a person with ideas. Like they're just
Uh-huh.
reading
Mm-hmm.
off like believe in yourself, think about like the
Mm.
better you.
Mm.
Find what works for you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in like the world that feels the way that those mantras should be.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have a
Mm-hmm.
very specific one. It's a little goofy, but I have this rapper I listen to, and his name's Aesop Rock. It's not ASAP Rocky. Everyone always gets it confused, but it's like Aesop, like Aesop's fables, and then rock like a stone. And he's this guy who had a breakdown in his 20s, and he lived with his parents for a bit, and he moved out and he just became a skateboarder. And then he just started doing like small time rapping. And in the next like 5-10 years, he then kind of built it up to become a legend in the New York rap scene. And it's bizarre because you'd think that a New York rapper from like the 90s and 2000s would probably sound like Tupac or would sound like
Mm-hmm.
Biggie, and you'd be talking about like guns and money and crime.
Mm-hmm.
But he raps about like his cat. He raps about like a dream he had about pirates. He raps about what specifically he wants to. And I try and follow
Mm.
suit with that. So, what I'm getting to is the mantra that I always go to. There's a song from his super old album called Labor, and it's called No Regrets. And No Regrets is all about this lady named Lucy. I don't know if it's a real person he knew, but it feels like it. It's a lady named Lucy, and it's throughout her whole life, and how Lucy didn't really aspire to anything. She never won any awards. She never got like any great paying jobs. Lucy just drew, and that was all she cared about. So specifically, the end of the song is when Lucy is older in an old folks home, and so Lucy had never talked to the nurses at the nursing home, but one day, here it is. The line is, she never spoken much throughout the spanning of her life until the day she leaned forward, grinned, and pulled the nurse aside. And this is the mantra. And she said, "Look, I've never had a dream in my life, because a dream is what you want to do, but still haven't pursued. I knew what I wanted, and I did it till it was done. So I've been the dream that I wanted to be since day one." And
Powerful.
I always like to go back to that and think, are you being the dream you'd like to be? Of
Mm,
course, there are people in positions, people with aspirations to be in a position. There are
mhm,
people with aspirations to physically do something, but you
mhm.
still need to see your dream as the path. And as long as you stay on a path, or like I said, a congruent path, one of the paths you find, if you're on where you want to be, then you are being the dream already, and you should appreciate
Mhm.
that.
Yes, that is powerful. Well, thank you so much, Michael. That is amazing. And that's what we want to tell you. And the message that we want to take across to everyone out there, anyone. We want you to be like yourself, be who you are, because that will take you to wherever you want to be. But be like, if you're going to be someone else that other people or other like your relatives or your parents want to be you to become, you'll never be happy. So be who you are and really follow what your intuition, what you really want in life, because we don't want to see people that they're dragging themselves to doing something that they don't like. So guys, there's so many great ideas, many great tips, and at the same time great message from these both. I cannot thank you enough, Michael and Philip,
Thank you.
for coming and sharing all your ideas to all of our viewers. I know for a fact that we gonna be coming back again and giving some updates to our viewers, and we wish you both the best in everything that you do. And to all our viewers around the world, we thank you for being here with us tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you get something that will really inspire you, sparks and ignites your your mind into pursuing whatever you started out there. And if not, then like Michael said, find what you want and really move on from there. So thank you guys so much. You have a wonderful evening and you enjoy the rest of your evening. And we wish you all the best. God bless, and we love you. Thank you guys.
Salamat
Bye,
po.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Salamat
Thank you,
po.
Angie.
Bye.
Thank you so very much.